the iPone Grid Girls and Swan Insurance Grid Girls. On the left of screen we have our pole sitter, and 5 from 5 so far this weekend, YRT Dominator Wayne Maxwell, alongside Troy Herfoss, who has had an extremely frustrating weekend. He's had
but still a somewhat successful weekend.
Oh, he's been virtually faultless, and I think he's done what he can with what he's got. And, just Wayne's just been just had the better package, and whether it's the bike or Wayne or a combination of the two. So we might go down and have a word with some of our Superbike pilots down on the grid with Lance.
Well, Wayne Maxwell, you've got it all ahead of you, one more to go, and of course the final round at Eastern Creek. Do you think you can do it for Team Yamaha?
Yeah, look, I mean, today was been super tough. All the boys have been riding awesome. That last race was one of probably the hardest races of the year. So, yeah, we'll just keep chipping away in this race here, get a strong result, and worry about Sydney when we get there at the final round.
I know it's a question that you try and avoid, but what would it mean to you and the team to get 3 different championships, 3 consecutive years, 3 different manufacturers?
Well, for Yamaha, I guess this is a brand new model for them, and they want to show class how good it is, and it's obviously an excellent motorcycle. You know, it's obvious to everyone out there, but I mean, to me, it's pretty special. I don't think anyone's ever done it before, and it's a long way off yet. So as I said, session by session, lap by lap, and we'll just keep hopefully in the right place at the right time at the end of the year.
We'll see what happens at the end of this one, heading into the final round.
No worries, thanks, Lance.
Thanks.
So, as we said, Wayne Maxwell will start from pole position. Troy Herfoss, Glenn Allerton and Mad Mike Jones join him on the front row of the grid.
Just ahead of Crew Halliday, Jamie Stouffer, Ben Burke and Linda McGee. Then we have Evan Biles, Matt Walters and Willie Davidson. You've got to say Crew Halliday and Jamie Stouffer performing below expectations so far this weekend, Phil. Not just our expectations, but their own expectations. I know Crew was expecting to do a lot better. Jamie's really struggled here all weekend and doesn't really seem to have got on top of it at any point, which is, like I say, is quite strange. Jamie was very strong at Phillip Island recently, and has always been strong here at Winton, but things just not going his way this weekend.
And well, the other thing that's strange is that Crew has had, well, we've had 5 races so far this weekend. He's had 1 strong race, but been, well, off the pace by his lofty standards in every one of the other races. As Mad Mike Jones pulls up to the grid.
It would have been a little bit mad after throwing it away at Bell Helmets turn 4 a bit earlier on today.
A little bit mad. That smile certainly wouldn't have been on his face as it was at the end of race number 1, where he was our leading Pro-Am rider.
Glenn Allen, the last to roll into his grid position.
Take up their positions on the grid. Green flag at the back. Tony Boland leaves the front of the grid with the red flag, points to the starter's lights.
Going to be away any second
now.
Will Herfoss get the start again?
Red lights on. We're away. Good start from everyone on the front row of the grid.
Herfoss, I think, again will lead them through turn 1.
Allerton hasn't got the best of starts, but he's at Ben Burke.
Wow, he's
coming up the inside. Is he able to get the bike stopped and turned just, I think? But that was...
nearly ended in tears there.
Nearly ended in a lot of tears for someone.
Allerton up the inside of Mike Jones. Mike Jones got a little bit sideways off the start there. The Kawasaki reared up and went a little bit crossed up on the young Queenslander. We see Herfoss lead them through Bell Helmets turn 4, and they all tip through the Racetech suspension sweeper.
So Jamie Stouffer's back to 5th place off the start. He's got Ben Burke right behind him. Then I think Matt Walters is right behind him. So Matt Walters got a better start from the rear of the grid, courtesy of that mishap in race number 2 yesterday, where he ended up in the gravel trap at DID Chains. But it is still Herfoss, Trev, that leads them through the S's for the first time, with the 2 Yamaha teammates right on his tail.
So Herfoss leads them now onto the iPhone, almost back straight for the first time around. 12 laps of race distance. And see on the screen there, Boz Herfoss leg out there. He's been absolutely spectacular into that turn 10 yesterday. Not quite as spectacular today, but the aggression showed down into that iPhone turn 10 yesterday was simply breathtaking. Go down into Dunlop turn 11 now. Oh, he's hot in there that time around, but gets it turned and stopped well. Matty Walters starting a little bit stronger this time around too, Phil.
Yeah, he did. He's well, actually, both he and Ben Burke are looking very racy back there in the pack. They were both extremely late on the brakes at the end of Ipona and down into Dunlop. But the man that's been late on the brakes all weekend, because he's riding so close to the edge, that, as you said, it's so surprising that he hasn't actually stepped over it, is our race leader.
Wayne Maxwell up the inside into DIG change, turn 3. Will he run it wide? No,
Herfoss comes back on the inside. Maxwell nearly off the circuit.
So Herfoss takes back the lead at Bell Helmets turn 4. He's got to do it.
I think he's made his intentions quite clear early on, has Wayne Maxwell.
Oh, Wayne very, very fast into the Racetech suspension sweeper there. He might even try on the change of direction as they set up for the Kawasaki S's.
This is his favourite move, down the inside.
No, can't do it. Herfoss knew that was coming, and Herfoss sort of balked himself there a little bit, blocking Wayne's line.
But they also, too, when they went into the corner, Herfoss was able to pick the bike up and fire it out of the corner, but then Maxwell came back extremely hard at the entry to the next corner. He's right on the back of the CBR 1000 SP as they make their way down Ippon.
Maxwell using all the circuit and then some as they blasted down the Ippon Earls back straight. They all successfully go through turn 10 that time around, and they've actually closed up a little bit. There's nothing separating that top 5.
I think Wayne Maxwell also knows he's got a very aggressive teammate right behind him in the form of Glenn Allerton on board bike number 4. Mad Mike Jones and Jamie Stouffer back on the pace as well in this third and final race as well.
Oh, Jamie
number 2 CBR looking extremely in shape as he comes out of that corner and gets on the gas hard.
Picked it right up off the side of the tyre there onto the fat part and hit the gas hard. It was quite evident what he did there.
And did it so quick.
Yeah, it was very, very lovely to see.
Matty Walters moved up into second position in the Pro-Am Cup now, getting ahead of Ben Burke and Crew Halliday back there behind those two as they battle.
Herfoss sliding the rear of that Fireblade SP through DID Chains turn 3 that time.
He's going to know that he's got to take the tight line into the entry to the Kawasaki S's because Maxwell will be trying to find his way up the inside.
That Fireblade is definitely riding the bumps a little bit better this afternoon, Phil, than it was here in race 1.
Maxwell tries to go up the inside, can't get through. Herfoss just took his entry into the corner just a little bit earlier.
Jamie's right there and away with that top 5 this time around. A 23.9. Jamie Stouffer, the fastest man on that first flying lap, Phil.
Yeah, well, we said that Jamie was looking good and his bike was looking very composed. So whatever changes they've made to Jamie Stouffer's CBR 1000 certainly worked in this race.
Troy's pulled a bike length or 2 out of Wayne that time around.
I think Troy Herfoss is going to have to try and pull a bike length or 2 every lap for these first few laps and build up a little bit of a buffer and try and force Wayne Maxwell into a mistake. He's going to taste the victory.
Which is something he hounded Wayne Maxwell all day yesterday across all 3 races, trying desperately to force the defending champion to a mistake, but Maxwell made none.
It's probably easier to be forcing a mistake, though, if you're pulling away at the front rather than trying to chase someone down from behind. Maxwell seemed to be able to take a very tight line into turn 1 there, though, Trev, as they come through the S's to complete the third. Well, they've completed 3 flying laps. Jamie Stouffer once again the fastest. They say Mad Mike Jones the fastest man on track with a 23.7.
Matty Walters a 23.8, so he's not far from this leading group. Oh, Allerton very hard on the gas there.
Matty Walters has actually got away from Ben Burke and he's starting to reel Jamie Stouffer in front of him back in.
Maxwell's going to have a crack at turn 7 this time around, Phil, I think.
There he goes. Herfoss, can he take the title line?
Inside. No, Herfoss knows.
I think he's on to Wayne Maxwell.
That's it, and if Herfoss, you see, he's just been stopping it there, and well, Maxwell can't really do anything. He has to slow to the same level, so Herfoss is just sort of parking it there and showing them that giving Maxwell no way past, and seems to get out of the corner, still do it very well. So it's a way that he's managing to keep Maxwell out, but without giving away any advantage. But Maxwell very close through Ippon turn 10 that time around. Herfoss gets a good jump off the corner.
Yeah, that Honda certainly does get the chassis works fantastic and enables the bike to hook up.
Maxwell very hot into turn 11 though. We'll get a good run onto the Swan Insurance front straight.
We suspect that everybody would be on either a used tyre from one race or a used qualifying tyre in this race. So as they come down towards the end of the straight, Maxwell has a big lunge up the inside.
He's going to take the lead into turn 1.
But can he get the bike stopped and turned and drive up over the hill as they come underneath our commentary position? Herfoss has a look to the inside.
Glenn Allerton right there now too, Phil. So if Herfoss isn't careful in his efforts to try and get past Maxwell, if he gets creative with his lines and leaves a door open, Allerton will shoot through it.
Herfoss had a good run out of Bell Helmet's corner as they come down towards the faster left-hander at the S's. So they're all very wide through that corner as they try and set up now an entry into the Kawasaki S's. Can Herfoss go up the inside? Not quite.
Wants to do a Maxwell, but no, can't do it.
Was that an attempted overtaking manoeuvre on Wayne Maxwell or a blocking move for Glenn Allerton?
A bit of both. I think Herfoss very tied into turn 8 that time into Kawasaki S's. Oh, he looks to go up the inside there in turn 9.
Glenn Allerton, the fastest man on track on the last lap, Trev.
Yeah, 23.7 though. 23.8 to Herfoss, 23.7 to Maxwell, 23.7 to Allerton. A 23.8 to Jamie Stouffer, a 23.9 to Matty Walters. So Matty Walters right on the pace in this last race of the day.
Yep, he's going very well on board the Kawasaki Connection machine. In second place in the Pro-Am Cup, of course, Mike Jones, the leader in that, sitting in 4th place with this lead group.
As we see them come around onto the Swan Insurance main straight, they're getting towards half race distance now. There'll be 7 laps to go after they cross the stripe this time.
So as they come across the stripe, the gap between Maxwell and Herfoss is 0.331 of a second.
23.1 that time for Wayne Maxwell.
Yeah, fastest lap of the race for Wayne Maxwell. What's that, 4 laps now we've had consecutive fastest laps of the race. We've seen Jamie Stouffer, Mad Mike Jones and Glenn Allerton, and now it's our race leader, Wayne Maxwell's turn to put in the fastest lap of the race as Jamie Stouffer and Mad Mike Jones are having a bit of a battle there, with Jones losing distance to the top 3 at the moment and currently trying to keep out the 4 times Australian champion who looks quite rampant on board the CBR 1000 SP. Jamie has a bit of a look up the inside, not quite able to get past.
Glenn Allerton's going to mount a challenge on Herfoss sooner rather than later, I think, Phil. And Herfoss had a little bit of a wiggle from the rear end of that Fireblade through the Racetech suspension sweeper. But, he's done well on the S's to pull a couple of bike lengths back out of Allerton, but Allerton looking dangerous there. And of course, he'll want to get in front of that Honda, not just for himself, but that'll also help his teammate out, Wayne Maxwell, in his quest to retake the championship lead from Herfoss.
How smooth and sideways was Herfoss into that corner then. He was back to what he was doing yesterday, Trev. That was absolutely spectacular. He gets in there so smoothly.
Herfoss had a great run through turn 11 that time around as well, so he should get a good run onto the Swan Insurance front straight. I don't think he'll be close enough to try and mount a challenge to Maxwell. He might have to leave it for something desperate later on in the race.
Well, he's also managing to hold out Glenn Allerton as well.
22.9 to Maxwell. That's the first 22 of the race. Herfoss tried though. 23.0 to him. 23.2 to Allerton, but Maxwell the only one to dip into the 22s, and you can see that evidently on the circumvision in front of you. Maxwell certainly gapped Herfoss. Jamie Stouffer is hot on the tail of Mike Jones there, 23.6 to Jones's 23.8 last time around, so Jamie has the pace to do it.
Crew Halliday right up onto the back of Matty Walters as well, and he's brought Ben Burke to the party as they make their way through the sweeper as well. They're the group that's behind this battle between Mad Mike Jones and Jamie Stouffer. They're currently batting for 5th position, or 4th and 5th position. Now leading 3 just starting to get away a little bit as they exit the Kawasaki S's now and out onto the Ippon straight. Herfoss looks like he's managed to put a couple of bike lengths on Glenn Allerton as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's Allerton slowing a little bit or Herfoss picking up his pace a little bit. Perhaps Herfoss picking up because he has certainly closed some ground back down to Maxwell.
He's had a good lap as Troy Herfoss. What will he be able to do as they come down the Dunlop straight? Bike looking like it's riding the bumps relatively well on the braking area there. Doesn't look as rigid as it did earlier on this morning.
He's getting a much better run into in turn 11 and round turn 12 this race.
So 22.9 was the fastest lap of the race for the last lap for Wayne Maxwell. What have they been able to do at the completion of this one? Troy Herfoss, the fastest lap of the race at 22.7. So the fires are being stoked up inside the governor of Goulburn's motorcycle at the moment.
22.86 to Maxwell that time, 22.77 to Herfoss, and just a tenth the difference, but those tenths matter, of course, and with 5 laps to go, if you can do the 10th lap, then you'll be able to take the race victory. But it's one thing to be able to catch Wayne Maxwell, it's going to be another thing to get in front of him and then keep him behind him.
The top 4 all setting their fastest lap of the race on that last lap. That was lap 7 of the 12-lap journey. So we're over half race distance now.
Which is quite surprising because it's this is where the tyres are most warm, the track temperature's the hottest now.
And riders are most desperate.
Yeah, well, Herfoss really did claw some ground back through the Kawasaki S's that time around on Maxwell.
He's actually closer at that point of the track at the end of the Ippon straight than what he was on the last lap, Troy Herfoss. I wouldn't be surprised to see Herfoss faster again on this lap than what Wayne Maxwell was as they make their way down the Dunlop straight, Trev, and down into the final braking corners. An intense battle there between Mad Mike Jones and Jamie Stouffer as well. But Allerton's having a bit of a lonely ride at the moment. He's not close enough to put a move on Herfoss, but he's also comfortable over the battle between Jones and Stouffer. This will be Jamie Stouffer's best performance of the weekend to date.
Certainly.
As they come down to complete another lap through the S's for the first corners of a new lap.
22.878 for Wayne Maxwell, 22.870 for Troy Herfoss. So
Herfoss, 8 thousandths of a second.
8 thousandths of a second difference is just ridiculous. But they have left Glenn Allerton behind them now. Glenn Allerton's now a full second behind Herfoss.
He doesn't look to be suffering from drive out of the corners. He looks to be maintaining pace with them out of the corner, so I'm not sure where Glenn Allerton made that corner.
Very, very wide through Racetech suspension turn 5 that time, Glenn Allerton. I've actually seen him spin it up through as he first got on the gas in the first part of turn 5 the last couple of laps, Phil. So Glenn is struggling a little bit more grip from the rear than the pair in front of him.
But the drive out of the slow corners, like they're coming out now of the iPone corner, doesn't look to be losing that much, but I think Herfoss and Maxwell just pulling gradually away. The end of iPone, start of Dunlop for our race leaders.
Herfoss very close through iPone turn 10 this time around, getting a much better run down the Dunlop back straight. He can poke it up the inside here perhaps. No, but he has been getting a great run through this corner this race. He's very tight, much tighter than Wayne Maxwell and has been every lap.
We know that the Honda is really good on worn tyres, and that's what they're going to be now, Trev. They're going to be the most worn that they would have been all weekend, apart from yesterday afternoon.
They are worn, because I just saw a big black line of Dunlop exhibiting from the back of that Fireblade SP as Herfoss wound it up onto the Swan Insurance main straight. 3 laps to run in this exciting battle.
The Honda also has the least electronic aids to assist in traction. All the traction control on that Honda is contained in Troy Herfoss's right wrist as they make their way round through DID chains and through bell helmets.
No fly-by-wire throttle, the old throttle cable system and everything. So it's the last of the linear superbikes.
Doing a pretty good job at the moment at taking up to the new wave of
Herfoss has a bit
computers
of a moment
on
there.
wheels.
He's had a bit of a moment through turn 6, but didn't lose any ground. It didn't cost him anything. A bit ginger that time into turn 7.
Did you notice how wide Wayne Maxwell was on the entry into the corner as well there? He wasn't taking his protective line.
No, and Herfoss is very, very strong through this turn 7, 8, 9 complex, the Kawasaki S's. Hard to the gas is sliding that Dunlop. Not going to be close enough to mount a challenge under brakes here.
Well, there's only going to be 2 laps to go when they come around to complete this one. So I've got about 6 kilometres of hectic action coming up now as Wayne Maxwell and Troy Herfoss not only battle for the race win here, but it's going to be about the championship lead heading into the final round at Sydney Motorsport Park in December.
He's not as close this time around.
Herfoss has lost a fraction on that last lap as they come across the start-finish line.
Yeah, he's lost a couple of tenths.
Maxwell did a 22.7, Herfoss a 22.9.
So yeah, the gap out to 4 tenths, but they have now well over 2 seconds over Glenn Allen, so it's coming down to these 2 men over the last 6 kilometres.
Mike Jones still maintaining 4th position and leading Pro-Am rider. Matt Walters is in 7th place and 2nd in the Pro-Am Cup. But in between Mike Jones and Matt Walters, we have Jamie Stouffer and Crew Halliday on the factory Honda and factory Yamaha respectively.
So this is Wayne Maxwell's chance to really break away from Troy Herfoss, and so he can run his own lines on this final lap.
Alternatively though, this is the area where Troy Herfoss is the best on the circuit,
exactly,
so he makes up a bit of ground through here.
7, 8, 9 is definitely Herfoss's strongest on the gas hard there through 8.
And look at him right on the back of him now as they come out of onto the iPone straight. I don't think he wants to make his move too early though, Troy Herfoss, either.
No, he said he was going to try something different in this one, and you can see that he did try having that different line into turn 7 for all those laps to keep Maxwell from making that move there. The gap's fairly equidistant to what it was before. Maybe he's a bike length closer, but he just can keep such a beautiful tight line around turn 11 and 12 there, and sure it's always perhaps the best line for him. Perhaps he can run a little bit wider there, or perhaps he's just leaving that a bit in reserve to run a different line on the final lap. He's very close into turn 1 this time around, Phil.
This is going to be a great last 3 kilometres, Trev, as Troy Herfoss is right onto the back of Maxwell now with less than a lap to go. Down through DID chains, Herfoss could be setting him up, but Maxwell powers through there and maintains a 2 bike length lead over Troy Herfoss. They come out of bell helmets and down towards the fast sweeper.
This is where Herfoss perhaps loses most ground on Maxwell, just as they enter this turn 5, and you see he did lose probably a bike length or 2 there, but then he generally gathers it all back up in the 7, 8, 9 Kawasaki S's.
Yep, he should be right onto the back of our race leader as they come out onto the iPone straight in a couple of corners time. If he gets a good run through here, through the Kawasaki S's on board the Honda CBR 1000 SP. And yep, he's right onto the tail now, but I don't think he's close enough to try and get past Maxwell, who will go deep into the end of iPone on the brakes.
No, his only chance is going to be to do something
the last
drastic
corner
at turn 11, I think.
Well, I think if anyone's going to do anything drastic at turn 11, it will be Troy Herfoss. I don't think he's close enough.
No, he's not going to be close enough. Wayne Maxwell's going to make it 6 from 6. And just how...
Or is he going to try in between the 2 corners? No, he's run a fraction wide. Ran a fraction wide on the entry into turn 11.
How faultless have these two been all weekend, Phil? Just absolutely amazing, on the edge riding. But, yeah, just absolute brilliance. Just amazing to watch 2 riders push so hard and virtually make no mistakes whatsoever.
Great race from all of our top throwers. Great race from our whole field, in fact, as Maxwell takes the victory.
And look at the last lap. A 22.64 was the fastest lap of the race by Wayne Maxwell on the final lap.
I think that's an indication of how hard he was pushing on the Yamaha Racing Team machine.
Are we going to see a Smoky? Dunlop, that tyre's going to be useless for Dunlop to inspect, but Wayne's pretty happy with that. 6 from 6, perfect weekend. I think Herfoss did everything he could, so he'll be disappointed, but he still leads the series, Phil, I think, by 1 point. So the gap, 1 point, 3:16, plays 3:15, heading into the final races at Sydney Motorsport Park, the first weekend in December. Wayne is pumped with that one. He hasn't really shown his real pleasure or satisfaction all weekend. He's been obviously pleased with his results. It was 5 from 5 before this, but you can really see he's a very, very happy chappy now. He's might be a little bit more buoyant this time around in Parc Ferme, perhaps.
Well, Wayne Maxwell's going to be happy, but I dare say that Troy Herfoss will probably be, well, once again, he rode the wheels off that bike. He could not have done any more than what he did.
No, it's a flawless performance.
And look at his last lap, Trev, a 23.009. He gave it everything that he had. In fact, that was only 3/10 of a second slower than his fastest lap of the race, with completely worn tyres, and trying to get up onto the back of Maxwell to make a move to get past. But
certainly Yamaha and, well, Maxwell at least. Maxwell has certainly stood head and shoulders above his Yamaha teammates this weekend. He's don't know if it's so much the way he's riding or his slightly different machine setup, but there can't be no issues with tyre wear on the back of that Yamaha YZF R1M anymore, because he sets the fastest lap of the race on the hottest race conditions on the most worn tyre. There you see confirmation of your results for our final Superbike 12 lapper of the day and the round. Wayne Maxwell the victor by 0.6 of a second over Troy Herfoss. Glenn Ullerton 4.8 seconds behind in 30. He'll be disappointed in that, disappointing in finishing nearly 5 seconds behind Maxwell in that final one. But he has been suffering for rear grip in comparison to his teammate all weekend, and he did make some step forwards there this morning.
It was good. Congratulations to Wayne and Troy. They were just too strong there at the end, and the team did a great job of giving us a really good bike. Days like today make it really hard because you got to run pretty much a tyre at least through 2 race distances, and it's really hot and hard work, so the bike setting's crucial. So thanks to the team for giving me a great bike. Going to go to my home round now at Eastern Creek, where I'm really comfortable. I'm going to do a lot of practice before we get there, so I'm extremely confident going in Eastern Creek that I can bridge the gap to these two.
Good on you, mate. Well done.
Thanks.
Glenn Ullerton in second place. Our runner-up today, still leading the championship by 1 slender point.
Good.
It's all it takes, 1 point.
Yeah, that's all it takes. Lance, I'm happy with that. I was told a few years back, I was always angry after races, but I got told if you do your best, you've got to be happy with it. And I can honestly say I've done my best, and I tried to slow the race up a hell of a lot at the start to try and force him to make some passes that he wasn't too comfortable with, and he did. And but he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he done a good job. So I waited, and I couldn't pass him, and I waited, and I tried to maybe get up behind him and force a mistake, but it wasn't to be. But anyway, Team Honda done a good job, and I'm pretty happy. After the first session, I realised it was going to be a tough weekend, and we tried our hardest and to lead the championship into the final round. Let's reset, 1 race championship now. Let's get into it.
Well, it's good to see you finishing the weekend with a smile on your face, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thanks very much, Lance.
Good on you, Troy Herfoss, runner-up. Our race winner and our championship contender, 1 point in it now as Wayne Maxwell comes in, Team Yamaha. 1 point between you and Troy. Can you do it at Eastern Creek?
Yeah, I think so. Things are, we've found form at the right end of the year. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, Lance, this year, and